What is up, my fellow bro gamers? Mr. J313 here, back at it with some more Mass Effect Andromeda. So guys, how is Platinum difficulty treating you? Well, thankfully it has been treating me quite well here lately. I've got a few games under my belt finally, and I'm steadily getting more, and I'm kind of understanding the ins and outs of what the best operator choice, best team synergy, and best weapons to take with you are. As I'm playing more of it, I'm kind of getting a feel for the differences in choosing the faction instead of just doing random. Now, first thing I want to go over in this tip guide for Platinum is choosing a faction. Now, Platinum difficulty, it is mixed. You will see a little bit of every faction in the game, but it actually does matter what faction you pick, as Wave 1 will be entirely different depending on which faction you pick. Now, throughout this gameplay, we were fighting the Remnant, and Wave 1 consists of Saboteurs, Observers, and Addy, and that is it. Now, the Outlaw would consist of Berserkers, Observers, Addy. That's pretty much the bulk of what you're going to see, while the Ket, you're going to see Destined, Wraith, Pariahs, Agents, and Anarchists. So, it does matter who you pick because it kind of determines who you're going to see more of. Now, while you can still do random and get more rewards for it, if you're having trouble with Platinum, I do suggest kind of testing for yourself or kind of picking what you would rather fight more and then do that. Because I've tried to do a little bit of math here, and the gold missions, on average, I would guess take around 15 minutes, giving you 55,000 credits, while the Platinum mission, I don't know an average. I kind of just want to say 30 minutes maybe. That might be an average. I don't know. Really, all of my games have been under 30 minutes. A couple of them have been under 25. My fastest game has been around 23 and a half minutes. So I'm not sure an average for Platinum. But Platinum, we have been getting 125,000 credits every time we've played it. So that alone, 2 gold games would give you 110,000 at 30 minutes, while 1 platinum mission at 30 minutes would give you 125,000. So you're already 15,000 credits over gold with the same time frame. And then doing platinums even faster would just really increase your farming rate if that's what you're going for. So let's try and keep this video showing how to keep your games under 30 minutes. So the first point I want to go over is operator choice. What everyone on the team is going to pick. So that is one of the biggest things about Platinum that you have to get down, is who everyone is going to play. Communication is another big thing. Honestly, that is probably one of the bigger things, if not the biggest issue with Platinum, is you need to have good communication. While you can get in a game with a bunch of random players and still do it effectively, it doesn't make it as fun or anywhere near as easy if you have good communication with your team. In this game, my buddy Adam and I were both playing. We were in a party, and these other 2 players, they were random players, but I believe they were in a party communicating. So it wasn't my most ideal situation, but it wasn't bad because they both knew what they were doing. They could communicate, and then Adam and I could communicate. So let's move back to operator choice. Operator choice is very crucial. So what I found is most effective, and I know that there will be a ton of guides out there for best team choices, and I do plan on doing some of those in the future. But in this game, we had a Batarian Scrapper, a Human Infiltrator, a Human Soldier, and an Asari Huntress. So what I'm seeing out of that team is we had 2 really high damage characters who were pretty tanky. The Batarian Scrapper I'm playing as, I was rocking 832 health with a 456 shield, and that's not even to mention all of the damage resistance I get from his passive abilities in combat fitness. So I was pretty tanky, comparable to my other squad mates. Now, the Human Soldier also is quite beefy, but I don't believe he is quite there with the Batarian Scrapper. But what I see out of that is you have 2 high damage operators who can really lay out, kill a lot of enemies, and just really hold down a line. Then you have the Asari Huntress, who has Stealth Grid, who can use Stealth Grid to get the team out of sticky situations, as well as revive and do objectives. So the Asari Huntress, I'm seeing a lot of people play her in gold, and she's becoming a very, very, very viable operator for gold, or not gold. Excuse what I just said about gold. I meant platinum. I'm trying to get used to saying platinum now. It's so different. So I'm seeing a lot of Asari Huntresses. I've also seen quite a few Angaran Avengers. I was in a game with an Avenger, and that game went very well. And then finally, the Human Infiltrator. Human Infiltrator, having Tactical Cloak. Honestly, I do prefer Tactical Cloak over Stealth Grid because it doesn't run off of power cells. That's just my personal preference. I feel like they could do objectives and more of a medic role faster. So really what I think it's going to come down to, whenever you compare those two, any operator with Tactical Cloak should probably be put on objective waves. And then the Asari Huntress or Angaran Avenger, they should be more medic duty, since they can Tactical Cloak within a radius, so they can cloak whoever they are reviving, and once you get up, you can get out of that situation. Because I have noticed a lot of times whenever I do go down in a really bad spot, if I get revived but not cloaked, as soon as I get up, I typically can't go far without getting down again, because I'm in that bad situation. So honestly, Tactical Cloak, or not Tactical Cloak, Stealth Grid is a very, very, very important skill now. So what I've kind of thought in the past is I was never a fan of the Asari Huntress, and I'm definitely going to be doing a build guide on her now again for Platinum, because I understand her utility now. Plus, I didn't think she was a horrible character, but I didn't really think she was one of the best. So I can definitely see where she would be very worth using now, especially for Platinum and the Stealth Grid use. I was never a fan of Stealth Grid in the past, but now I can really see why it is so needed. I guess my problem with it was I never had a problem with gold difficulty, and I just never really saw the use in it. I would rather use Tactical Cloak, because gold got to a point where it was so easy I could just do level 1s on gold. And honestly, I'm kind of trying to find out if I'm going to be doing those platinum missions just like the gold missions. If you want to check out level 1 gameplay on gold, check out the playlist. I will leave a link down in the description, as well as some end cards at the end of this video for you guys to go check that out. So let's move back on to operator choice. So really what I'm finding is going to be the best choice is, it really depends on the map, honestly. So if you're playing on a more open map, you want to have someone roaming the map around the outskirts of it, such as Sandstorm. That is a really good map for a roamer. This said roamer, what their job is going to be is moving around the outside of the map, keeping all of the enemies moving so that they don't get too clustered. And that is very effective for whenever you are having a lot of bosses, a lot of Hydras, a lot of Destroyers, a lot of Ascendant. So that's really where the roamer will play best, is keeping everything kind of spread evenly out for the rest of the team, while they're effectively being able to take out some enemies along their path, get revives as they can. So that's where they come in best. Now in this particular game, we did not have a roamer. While we could have, we just didn't really see it fit, because Firebase Zero isn't the best map for a roamer because of its layout. It is more tight, close quarters, so a roamer would have a lot bigger chance of getting stuck and pinned in a room with some really nasty enemies. So we didn't really see it being that crucial to have one because of some really nice defendable positions within the map. So we didn't run a roamer. We typically stayed more as a group for the most part. We didn't get too far away from each other unless we had to, and then on objective waves, that's when we really started spreading out. So going to infiltrators. Infiltrators are very, very, very important for Platinum because of Tactical Cloak or Stealth Grid. They are going to be the ones getting objectives and doing revives most of the time. So let's go talk about objectives real quick. So the easiest, absolute easiest objectives you're going to get are retrieval and upload. not upload, scratch that. Retrieval and devices. Retrieval and devices are going to be your easiest objectives because your infiltrators can just cloak, get in there and get them and get out. But then whenever it comes to upload and hack, that's a different story. So before I talk about those, let's talk about the boss wave, the new assassination wave. So with 3 targets, you're really going to have to step it up and get them off of the field quick, because if you don't, that timer will run down very quickly and it's going to cause a lot of problems, because these new enemies are even less resistant to the already useless Cobra RPG now. So you're really going to have to get your whole team to work on them at the same time to get rid of them. So now let's move on to hack and upload. Honestly, out of the two, I don't know which I prefer. Honestly, I'm kind of feeling like I would rather have upload rather than hack, because hack does take longer than upload. And even though it is just 1 point, it seems like since it is that 1 point, more enemies are going to be coming to it. You can't really spread out. So my tips for these 2 objectives, let's go over hack first. Hack, what my best idea for it was, whenever we ended up playing it a lot, we would have our infiltrator cloak and get on the point, and then the rest of us would spread out and stay away from the point. We would draw all of the enemies away from the point while the infiltrator could do their thing and get that point. Now on upload was a little bit different. Upload, whenever it came up, we would go to the closest objective and we would start uploading it. That was weird saying that. I don't know why, that was just weird saying that. We would start uploading that first point. If there was one far away, kind of like how C is, we would have someone go all the way over there alone and try and get it. It is best if an infiltrator did that, because they could get on it, they could cloak, and hopefully upload the entire objective with no problems. And then 2 others would go to the one in the center. One guy would go to the closest, one guy would go to the furthest, and then 2 would go to the centermost. Now, the guys on the center objective, they're going to have a problem because a lot of enemies are going to be swarming them very quick. So they're going to upload as much as they can, and then once the enemies get there, they're both going to go off in different directions. In doing so, that's really going to make the enemies spread around the map and make it easier to come back to that objective. So hopefully at that point, whoever the infiltrator is that went on the furthest objective can loop back around, cloak, and get that center objective. And hopefully the closest objective didn't have that many problems with enemies. But the 2 guys that went to center are going to have to loop around the map and go back to the closest objective if they're having problems. That is what I found most effective when doing upload. I hope that made sense trying to explain it. So really, to simplify that, you need to have your infiltrators mainly doing it, because since hack and upload are both contestable now, trying to fight enemies off of it is never going to work, because there will always be more enemies getting on it. So your best bet is to just leave the upload area and let an infiltrator come back in once the enemies kind of scatter. You need the rest of the team to really draw the enemies away from those new objectives so that your infiltrator can get in and do them alone. That is what we found best. That is personally what I think is the best idea and move for these objective waves. So that is where objectives really pan out in Platinum. Since they're being much more difficult now because of the enemies and because everything is contestable, that's really what I feel like the best idea for those objective waves are. So let's move on to my next point, weapon choice. Weapon choice goes hand in hand with operator choice. Now, while it depends on who you're playing as, that's going to depend on what weapon you want to use. But while it doesn't always matter that much, you should always use something you're comfortable with using. The new Siphon, Concussive, and Bulwark weapons are a very good choice and will honestly always be the best choice for Platinum. When it comes to concussive, I honestly feel like the snipers are going to be the best concussive weapons, because you have to get a precision kill to activate the concussive effect. The concussive effect is a biotic explosion, and with a concussive weapon at rank 1, it will do 800 area damage with a 7.5 meter radius. Now, every time you level up that weapon, it will not gain any stats, but it will increase its new special effect, whether that be concussive, siphon, or bulwark. It will level that effect up. I know in my last video I did go over all 3 of the weapons and talking about them. I will link that down in the description if you guys want to go check that out. But what I do want to talk about is the concussive. So the concussive weapon, I had a commenter, things I do for fun, commented about the concussive effect. It increases every level by 77.5 damage. So I currently have the Maddox concussive at 3, and I'm dealing 955 area damage over a 7.5 meter radius. If it really does stick to a 77.5 damage increase throughout every level, at rank X, it will be doing 1,575 area damage over a 7.5 meter radius. That is a massive damage over an area, and honestly, that is really what's going to make concussive weapons so effective, especially at rank X. So imagine having a Vanquisher, Widow, Black Widow, Ishare, whatever is your more favorite sniper, because I do still consider those the 4 core snipers, especially after the Black Widow has been buffed massively. Imagine having one of those at rank X with the concussive effect. That would be absolutely insane, and I'm really hoping I can get something like that very soon and test that out, because I honestly do feel like the Infiltrator on the team should have a concussive sniper, being that they have massive damage buffs from Tactical Cloak or Stealth Grid. Having that concussive sniper would be a massive damage bonus and really be able to help with crowds. Then you have the Siphon weapons. Siphon weapons, I feel like your tank on the team should have them, or someone who needs to really be able to get their health back. Now, what weapons are best for Siphon, that I can't really know for sure. I did just unlock the Falcon Siphon, and it is very good. Very, very, very good. I noticed I'm getting a lot more health back using it than I was when I used my Disciple Siphon. So I really feel like faster fire rate weapons are probably best for that, but I'm going to have to say more testing is going to be required until I can for sure say something. So then you have the Bulwark weapons. Now, Bulwark, that could be good for anyone on the team. Honestly, if you have the carry weight, I would say take a concussive or Siphon weapon and then take a Bulwark, so that whenever you're around your team and you're kind of in an area defending, you can really switch to that weapon and gain some really much needed damage resistance to really help you out in that fight. So that's where I see it being handy, but that's pretty much it. It only gives you damage resistance whenever you're around your team. 1 ally is 15 damage resistance, 2 allies is 22 damage resistance, and 3 allies is 30 damage resistance. So while it's not a super crazy massive bonus, it is still a very, very good bonus that'll really help you out, and that's only at rank 1. I'm not sure what it is at rank X. I'll have to wait and find out. Unless one of you guys have a Bulwark weapon at rank X, let me know down in the comments what the stats look like on it. So for weapons, you know, it's pretty straightforward really who should be using what. Your soldiers need to be using more AR styled, lots of damage, high fire rate, or something more along the precision lines with the Maddox. I'm really enjoying using the Maddox. I've noticed a lot of great value out of using it, especially having the concussive version. That's really what your soldiers on the team need to focus on. Snipers, definitely, like I said, using the core snipers, the Vanquisher, Widow, Black Widow, and Ishare. And that's at least in my opinion. You know, you guys might prefer another sniper and it may work great for you. Definitely, if it works great for you, then use it. I'm just speaking from my experience and what I would prefer. So then you have your roamers. If you have a roamer on the team, they're really going to be best fit with a SMG or a shotgun. And they're really going to be the ones who need to use Siphon weapons, because they're going to be out roaming around on their own. So Siphon would really help them out. It would benefit them the most out of anyone. So from your damage dealing soldiers, they don't have to be soldiers, you know, the Batarian Scrapper, the Human Soldier, the Havoc Trooper, the Krogan Mercenary, if you want to run him, I guess you could. So then you have your more defending characters, who would be your engineer type based characters. So the engineers and the Angaran insurgent, I'm going to put them as the defenders because they have assault turret, shield boost, some really good, they can do a lot of tech combos. I'm going to have them as defending characters because of that reason alone. So what I feel best would be to use for them would be some, like I said, more ARs or maybe snipers, since they're going to need to be a little bit further back. So I would see the Maddock being a good weapon for those engineer classes because they are going to be having to stay back, along with maybe some of the more automatic snipers, the Raptor, the Indra, weapons like that. I could see that being another good choice. So for characters, that's all I have as a guide so far. I have the defending characters, the damage dealers, the roamers, the infiltrators. So like I said, the infiltrators are going to be your medics and getting all of your objectives. That's really what I have so far. It's going to take me a little bit more time to really decide and go over a good, healthy guide for the best teams on doing Platinum. While it's not too insanely hard whenever you have a good team, good communication, everyone knows what they're doing, and everyone can actually do their job right, then Platinum isn't that bad. But if you guys are struggling out there, I'm really hoping any of these tips will help you in some way. So let's go on and really talk about Platinum as a whole. So with the new enemies, the new Blaze Hydra, the Progenitor, Destroyer, they're going to cause a lot of problems because they are so fast and they really are going to push you out of your cover. You're going to have to start getting used to moving around the map a lot. So you need to get familiar with certain areas of the map. So now I'm going to go over the best way how to do all of these missions fast. So if you're just looking to enjoy Platinum as a whole and have fun, this might not be the best tip for you. But if you're interested in doing Platinum very fast and really farming it out and making it worth your while doing it because you're on credit runs, this is going to be my best tip for you. Get your friends and get in a game. Make sure you're all in a party. If you don't have friends, which is mainly my case, then join a game with randoms. Make sure everyone has a mic, stay in game chat, or start a party. Because for some reason when you're loading on this game, it completely cuts out audio, and I hate that. So you're going to need good communication. Before the game starts, you need a plan with everyone in the team, who is going to play what weapon they're going to use, and make sure they know how to play that character properly. So if someone is going to be using an infiltrator or such with stealth grid or tactical cloak, you need to make sure they know that objectives are on them. Reviving is on them. Unless they're doing objectives, they need to be reviving. If they're not reviving, they need to be doing objectives. If there are no objectives to do, then they just need to be sniping or putting in damage with the team, or roaming around to the back of the map to pull enemies away. That is what they need to be doing. Your more damage dealing soldiers, they need to be in the back or in the front, preferably in the front. If they're more tanky, they need to be sitting there taking the fire and dealing it right back to the enemy. Your roamers, if you're going to have a roamer, they need to be roaming the map. They need to be doing it in a certain time. They need to have a path set up. That path should consist of looping around, getting to some enemies, doing a little bit of damage, and drawing the aggro towards them. That is going to be really, really, really crucial when it comes to the later waves, when you're getting a lot more of the boss enemies, Hydras, Destroyers, Ascendant. That is really going to be where your roamers come into play the most. And then your engineers and defending characters, they need to be in the back, using their turrets, using their trip mines, making sure the team's shields are always up with shield boost, and you need to make sure they are putting down lots of damage on the enemy and dealing area of effect damage if they can. So you need to make sure everyone on your team knows what they're doing and knows how to do it. And then you need to make sure that everyone's weapons are going to be up to scale and up to par. You don't want someone coming into Platinum who is under-leveled, and then you know you're going to have to carry them. You don't want that. No one wants that. So you need to make sure everyone is going to be leveled right. Now when it comes to these boss enemies and using your Cobras, I did want to go over this in the video. Cobras now, after they've nerfed them so heavily, the last nerf wasn't, in some people they're going to say it wasn't that bad. They took away weak point damage, so you can no longer one-shot destroyers. It takes so long to destroy anything with Cobras now. Honestly, if you shoot a destroyer with a Cobra, it's only going to half its shields, and that's just not even right, especially for Platinum. You know, I could kind of see it taking 2 Cobras, so I don't really know how I feel about that. Is it going to stop you from doing Platinum? Definitely not. But I do wish that that is what Cobras were for, because that's what they're supposed to do, is they're supposed to take out those bigger enemies. So when it comes to using Cobras, you need to really watch out for them. And as well as the rest of your consumable equipment, you always need to save 1 revive and one health pack for wave 7. It needs to be an emergency use, just to make sure you can make it to extraction. You have to save 1 just in case your team cannot come to revive you. That needs to be a last resort option. Always make sure you save 1. For Cobras, you're really not going to need them until the later waves, honestly, because there's going to be more enemies, more bigger enemies. If you get in a situation, you can always nuke yourself, aim it at the ground and fire. If you're getting swarmed, that is always an option. But the best way to use them is honestly to communicate with your team if you're trying to pick targets to use them on, so that no one wastes theirs, because you do have a limited supply, every player having 5, total of 20. That honestly, in most games, you might not even go through all 20. I don't really think I've ever been in a game where I've went through all 20 of my team's Cobras, but just in case, you do need to make sure that you're using them effectively. So that is really all the tips and tricks I have for Platinum on this guide. I will be doing more guides as well as build guides very soon. I'm going to be having a build guide up for my Batarian Scrapper here very soon. It will be one of the next Mass Effect videos I do, as well as some more build guides. Currently, I'm taking a look at all of the build guides that did best on this channel, and I'm going to be going over them with a Platinum version. All of my build guides now are more centered towards gold, so I'm wanting to do some of them over again. So if there's any build guides that you guys want me to do, let me know down in the comments, and I will start getting right on that. But as always, guys, this is all I have for you. I really hope this video helped out and you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to smash that thumbs up. And if you're new around here, subscribe now, because it is a great time. We're putting videos out every Monday and Friday, as well as a few others, just when there's massive amounts of content. So guys, as always, this has been Mr. J 313, and I will catch you on the next one.